Recording in progress.
Hello everyone, good morning. Can anyone confirm audible or not? Yeah. So where we stopped in the last class? In the last class, what we discussed? In the last class, we discussed about what is class, how many ways we can create the class, and what is an object. By using object, what we can do. The next one is like what is inheritance. Okay, inheritance. The next one is like what is constructor, how it's going to work. These things we discussed or not? Yes or no? These things we discussed or not? Okay. Now I have one question. Function app. Okay. Function app. What is my this? If I write like this, what is my current object this? What is my current object this? My this is pointing to window or not? Window. If I use like this, what is my this? If I use like this, what is my this? If I use like this, my this is pointing to what? Which object? Window also object. Which object that is? That is which object? It is like window object which contains some property like this window. Okay, if it is like this one, this is which object? My window object contains multiple properties, right? All predefined variables and methods inside this object only. Okay, here, okay, my this is pointing to what? Your app object or not? Your app object. Okay, why? Because you created an object for which class? App class. So now onwards, okay, inside the class, my this is pointing to your current class object or not? What is my current class? App. So my app class object or not? Now inside this one, if I write like this dot n1 equals to 10, now my app object contains how many properties? N1 equals to 10 like this or not? Got my point? Okay. Now at the time of creating an object, which method is going to call? My app is working like, okay, both like a class as well as constructor, right? My app is working like a class as well as my app is working like a constructor also. Got my point? My app is working like a class, my app is working like a constructor also. That's the reason this type of classes, what we can say, constructor classes or not. This type of classes, what we can say, this type of classes we can say like a constructor classes or not. Got my point? Okay, so my app is acting like at the time of creating an object, okay, it is acting like a function, this function called, okay, whenever you create an object, which function called that function, what we can say? Terminology which we can say like what, constructor or not. Okay, so in this case, my app is acting like a constructor, my app is acting like a class. Okay, so when my constructor is going to execute? At the time of creating an object. What my constructor is going to do? At the time of creating an object, my constructor will execute. What my constructor is going to do? What my constructor is going to do? What my constructor is going to do? It allocates the memory for the variables and all. Okay, it allocates the memory for the variables and perform initialization or not. It allocates the memory for the variables and perform initialization or not. Yes or no? Okay. Now the same theory can be applied for the class keyword classes. Okay, how we can create the class keyword class? My class app. Okay, like this. How we can create a variable? Like this, we can create a variable. Now tell me, at the time of create an object for this particular class keyword class, which method is going to execute? If it is like a functional classes, okay, directly my functional class itself acting like a constructor. But here app is there. It's a class keyword class. Which one is acting like a constructor here? Is my app is acting like a constructor? No. If it is like a class keyword classes, we have one constructor method is there. It's like name itself constructor. Name itself constructor. So whenever you create an object for the class keyword classes, my constructor got executed. Here, if you write like this, okay, my constructor got executed. Got my point? If it is a class keyword classes, which method is acting like a constructor? The method name itself constructor. The method name itself constructor. What is the difference between method and a function? Now, for example, I have a function f1 is there. Okay, here there has f1 is there. So if you want to call this f1, if you want to call this f1, how we can call it? This f1 directly we can call it or not? Yes or no? This f1 directly we can call it. Okay, but this f1 can I call directly? Can I call directly? No, right? You need to create an object or not. So how we can create an object? O equals to new app and o dot f1 or not. See the difference between the calling f1 directly we called or not. But here f1 we called by using an object reference or not. Okay, if we call my f1 directly, okay, terminology wise, we can say like a functions. If I call f1 with some object reference, that one we can say like a methods. Methods always inside the class by using an object reference, we can call it. By using object reference, we can call it. Got my point? Agreed with me? Okay, now here, at the time of creating an object for my app class, at the time of creating an object for my app class, which method is going to execute? Which method is going to execute? At the time of creating an object for this particular app class, which method is going to execute? Which method executed at the time of creating an object? That method, what we can say? That method, what we can say? That method, we can say like what? Constructor or not? See, my constructor executed or not? My constructor executed or not? So in class keyword classes, my constructor, okay, the method name is like a constructor. That one is acting like a constructor or not? The method name itself constructor. The constructor method acting like a constructor or not? Got my point? Okay, either it is a class keyword class or either a functional classes. The constructor, okay, functionality is what? It allocates the memory for the variables and perform initialization or not? It allocates the memory for what? It allocates the memory for the variables and perform initialization or not. Got my point? Agree with me? Constructor is a predefined one. It's a predefined one. The method name is constructor is a predefined one. It is not a, okay, you defined, okay, in your class, it's okay, fine. But the name constructor is a predefined name. Agreed with me? Okay. Okay, then what my constructor is going to do? That one you know. It is allocate the memory for the variables. Once the memory allocated for the variable, then only, right, we can, okay, this is the space. In that space 10 is there. I can get that 10 from that particular location or not. Okay, if the space is not allocated, from where I can get the 10? Got my point? What is the difference between method and function? See, very simple. If you observe this F1, if you observe this F1, directly I written a function. Directly I written a function F1 like this. I call it. Directly I called my F1 or not. I can get the answer is like F1. Okay. Now, if you observe here this code snippet, is it possible to call my F1 directly? No. How we can call it? First, you need to create an object for my app. Okay. By using that object reference, I can call it or not. If my F1 called directly like this, then I can say my F1 is a function. If my F1 call like this without any object reference, that one we can say like a terminology wise function. Okay, if my F1 to call some reference, object reference is required here. Okay, that type of, okay, if object reference is required to call F1, okay, then I can say my F1 is like what? Method. Methods always inside the class, always inside the class. Got my point? Okay, okay, then. The next one is like what my constructor is going to do. What my constructor is going to do? My constructor is going to allocate the memory and perform initialization or not. Okay, can anyone answer this question? I have app. My n1 is like 10. Listen carefully. My n1 equals to 10. Okay, sum is there. Sum. Okay, console.log of. If you want to access the members of a class, what is mandatory? Okay, mandatory input is what? If you want to access the members of a class, either n1 if you want to access, either sum if you want to access, object is required. Inside the class, how we can represent the current class object? This. Outside the class, how we can represent the current class object? How we can represent the object? Okay, how we can represent the object of a class? That is your wish. Okay, here, this is the class. Outside that, if you want to represent the object for my app class, here what? O. Inside the class, if you want to represent the app object, how we can represent this? So by using object only, we can access the members of a class or not. Okay, by using object only, I can access the members of a class or not. Here, external, outside. Here, it's like internal, inside the class. So what's my answer here? What's my answer? What is my answer? My answer is like not a number. Not a number. Why? Because this dot n1 is like a 10. My this dot n2 inside the object n2 is there, not there, not there, undefined. 10 plus undefined, not a number, not a number. Okay, now if I write like some child class, if I write like some child class, inside the child class 20 is there. Now, can I extend the properties from my child class? Okay, now my answer is what? Now my answer is what? My app class get the properties from, okay, this class or not? My app class get the properties from my A class or not? Here, my app is a child, my A is a parent, my app is derived, okay, A is a base class, my app is a subclass, my A is a child class, okay, superclass, sorry, superclass. This is the child, this is the parent, this is the derived, and this is the base. This is the sub, and this one is like a super terminology. Okay, otherwise you can go with the parent and children. Okay, who given the properties? That one parent. Who take the properties? That one is like a children. App is a children, A is a parent. Now, what is the answer? Now, what is the answer? My answer is like 30. Now, my answer is like 30. Yes. Let me do slide change. Okay. Okay. See, if it is not there, A class contains how many members? A class contains how many members? App class contains how many members? Only app class contains how many members? Okay, N1 sum, two own members. A from A, one inherited member also. N2 also come to my app or not? So A contains only one member. App contains two own members, one inherited member. But one member we missed. What is that? Any class you create in JavaScript, by default, one member inherited into that class, right? By default, one member inherited into that class or not? What is that one? Constructor, right? Okay, so in my A class, how many members are there? Your own one constructor already there or not there? Two members or not? Okay, here app app contains you defined two members. From my A, one member inherited into A app. By default, one member already inherited into my app. Total how many members? Four members are there or not there? Got my point? Okay, now tell me, at the time of creating an object for my app class, okay, at the time of creating an object for the app class, which constructor is going to execute? At the time of creating an object for the app class, which constructor is going to execute? Which constructor is going to execute? Which class constructor? You create an object for which class? That class only, right? That means my app class constructor will execute or not. But you not defined the constructor here, then that time which constructor? My default constructor which already inherited, that is going to execute or not? Yes or no? That function already written by JavaScript people. Okay, that function is going to execute or not? But if you want to use that constructor in your class, you can define like this again. Now tell me. Now tell me. This is you written. My app already has default one. Default one. Okay. Both function names are like same or not? Come on. Both functions names are like same or not? Okay. Now if you write like this, function F1 console.log of 1, console.log of 2. Okay. If I call my F1, what's my answer? What is my answer? What is my answer? 1 or 2? 1 or 2? My answer is like 2. Okay, why? This particular function F1 override by this one or not? Yes or no? Same theory can you apply here? Okay, here already constructor is there. Here already constructor is there. Yeah. Here, okay, if I write like constructor, okay, now tell me, my app already have the constructor. Now that constructor, old one, and this is the new one. So the old constructor is override by this one or not? Now tell me, your constructor will execute, gives the result. Okay, default constructor gives the result. Which one? Okay, new one. That means your constructor or not? Yes or no? person or not? Yes or no? If it is a default constructor, if it is a default constructor, if it is a default constructor, if it is like a default constructor, then that time already they written. Okay, call the parent class constructor. If you return the constructor, then that time you are the responsible person to call it or not. How you can call your super class constructor means by using super method. Okay, that is one of the error here. Say this. Must call super constructor in the derived class before accessing this or returning from derived constructor like this. Okay, that means what internally, that is only the meaning. Okay, you should have to call your super class constructor to allocate the members, okay, allocate the memory for the super class members and perform initialization. Then only you can use your super class members by using this or not. Otherwise, how we can use? Got my point? Okay, now onwards, you have to keep this point in your mind. What is that? If you return the constructor, that means if you write the user defined constructor, if my class is extends from any other class, you are the responsible person to call your super class constructor or not. Okay, so how we can like this? Got my point? If you return, okay, if you return the constructor, okay, if my class is extends from any other class, you are the responsible person to call your super class constructor or not. Okay, why means if you not call the super class constructor, okay, my super class constructor is not executed, it is not allocated the memory for the variables or not. Memory not allocated means how we can call it, how we can use the n2. You are not able to use it. Got my point? Can you keep this one in your mind now onwards? What is the point? Whenever you defined user defined constructor, whenever you defined a constructor in the class, if my class is extends from any other class, you are the responsible person to call your super class constructor by using super method. By using super method. Color okay? Anyone have any questions? Okay, then can we write our first hello world program into can I convert into class component? Okay, this knowledge is enough to write your first hello world program by using class component. Okay, let's start. Now this one control C control V. Now onwards, if it is a class component, okay, I'm going to put the naming convention is like hello underscore C, that is like a class component. Like this, you can understand. Okay. Okay, then. Now tell me, these many lines of code are written to write our first hello world program. Okay, line by line, can you tell me? Okay, first, minimum 3 libraries are required. Minimum 3 libraries are required. First is like React, React DOM, next Babel. React is used for recognize the components. React DOM is used for render the component content inside the container. Whatever the content is there, that content should be compiled with Babel. Yes, Sanoa. So, how many ways we can prepare the content in React? 2 ways. One is like what? One is like what? 2 ways we can prepare the content. One is like what? Functional. Okay, you can prepare the content by using components. How many ways we can prepare the components? 2 ways. One is like functional components, another one is like class keyword components, class components, you can say. Okay, now whatever the component content is there, that content should compile with what? Babel. Once you have the error free content, there is no errors, nothing. Okay, I compiled. Okay, that particular content, component content should render it inside the container. For that, in my React DOM library, create root is one method. You can get the root element is nothing but a container. Inside the container, can you render this particular component? Yes or no? Now, if you want to convert this one into class component, which lines you need to do change? Which lines you need to do the change? Which lines? Come on. Only these lines you need to do the change or not? Yes or no? Okay, remaining all are like same or not? Remaining all are like same or not? Agree with me? Yes or no? Now I want to prepare the content by using what? Now I want to prepare the content by using what? Class component or not? That's it. By using class component or not? Okay. If you want to do the comments, multi-line comments, if you want to do control slash. Okay. Okay, then remaining all are like same. Just I want to create my hello functional component or class component. Class component. Let's go with that. My class component syntax is similar to your ES6 class only. Similar to your ES6 class. How my ES6 class is looks like? Tell me. Class keyword. Next. Come on. Next. Hello is the class. Hello is the class. That's it. Hello is the class. Now it is a simple normal JavaScript class or not? Agreed with me? It is a simple normal JavaScript class or not? Okay. Now you want me to use this one like a class, or you want me to use like a this particular hello class hello should act like a component, right? Yes or no? This class hello should act like a component. Got my point? At this moment, my hello contains how many members? At this moment, my hello contains how many members? Only one member. That is the default one, constructor or not. Okay. If you use like this only, my hello can act like a normal class. It is not able to acting like a component. If you want to make it like a component, it should have to get some extra benefits from outside to act like a component. Can anyone tell how one class can get some extra features from outside? At this moment, only constructor is there. With that constructor, it is not able to acting like a component. It is not able to acting like a component. To act like a component, it needs some extra features from outside. Okay, my hello should require some features from outside. Then only my hello can act like what? Component. So how one class can get some features from outside? By using inheritance or not? By using inheritance or not? So my class hello, which is extends from my React people, given one class. Okay, your class, if you want to make your class acting like a class component, you can get the features from that particular class which is given by React people. Which class they given? My class name is like a component is the class name which is given, which is coming from React library. So that this is my class name. Got my point? My React.component class given by whom? Come on. This class given by whom? It is given by React people. Okay, as per our program, you can say like you not written. It is not a user defined. You not written. Who written? React people already written. It's a predefined, you can say. Got my point? Now tell me, my hello contains how many members? Now tell me, hello contains how many members? My hello contains how many members? Come on, how many members? One member. My hello contains my hello members plus my React.component class members also or not? Yes or no? My hello contains my hello own members plus my React.component class members also or not? Agreed with me? Yes or no? So now tell me, this React.component is which type? Type I'm asking. Come on, fast. My React.component is which type? React.component is which type? Type I'm asking. Type. My class hello extends from react.component after extends. Okay, whatever you return, that should be a class or not. Class, right? That is the first thing is like class. That is which type? That is a class, right? Okay. Which kind of class? Now see, this is which type react.component is a class. So my classes you can create like two ways, right? Two ways, right? One is like functional class, another one is like what? Class keyword class or not? Yes or no? Very simple. With our knowledge, okay. A. My A should be what? A should be what? A class. It is valid syntax or not? 100% valid. Okay. Now my A should be what? Class. So can I write like this also? Is also valid or invalid? This is also valid or invalid? Come on, 100% valid. Extends keyword. Okay. Prefix should be class keyword class. But after extends, that can be any type of class or not, either functional, either class keyword. 100% valid or not. Here also, if I write like this, my react.component is a class. Okay, it is which type of class? It is which type of class? Either it is a class keyword class or either it is a functional class or not. Yes or no? Possibilities. Okay, now who written this class? If I return, I know that it's a class keyword or functional. But who written this class? You written? No, right? My React people written or not? That is coming from React library. So can you go to our React library once? Can we go to our React library once? Can we go to our React library once? Inside that React library, can you see this react.component? Somewhere they written, right? That should be. Library is nothing but what? It is a JS file. It contains some predefined methods. You can use that methods if you want. Okay. Now, can you go to my React? Yes, React there or not there? There. In my React, component is there or not there? Component, yes. Now, if I click on this one, now if I click on this again in the result, now see this is my react.development.js. If you observe line number 302, it is which kind of class? Come on. It is which kind of class? Oi, it is which kind of class? It is a functional class or not? Functional class or not? It contains how many members now? It contains how many members? Okay, arguments leave it. It's leave it. Okay, for now. How many members it contains? How many members it contains? Okay, 4 members or not? This dot n1, this dot n2, like this I written, right? Okay, same like this. My variable names may be changed. Can you spell out? Can you spell out own members? Okay, props. Okay, come on, props. Next, context and riffs and updater or not. Come on, 4 own members are there. So now tell me, my hello contains how many members? Just exclude the constructor. Constructor, leave it. That is common. Okay, think like variables. My hello contains how many members at this moment? My hello own members 0, 0 plus my react.component class members how many? Constructor, leave it. How many members? Props is 1 member. Riffs is 1 member. Updater is 1 member. Context is 1 member. Yes, sir. Total, how many variables are there? How many members are there? 4. 4 members. Now, line number 312. Can you read this one? Come on, line number 312. Line number 312. Oi, line number 312. Line number 312. What is that? What is that? Line number 312. You inherit my is react component variable inside the component class or not? Now tell me, my component class, how many members are there? My component class contains how many members now? My component class contains how many members? 4 own members. Okay, 1 inherited member or not? Okay, total how many members into my hollow class now? Come on, how many members? 5 members. 5 members. Like that, okay, how many lines of code is there? Okay, these many lines of code is there. So can we check somewhere? Okay, did they write any this kind of inheritance kind of code they written or not? Can we check it? Okay, how we can check it? Very simple. Component dot prototype. Can I copy this one? Can I find it? Component dot prototype. Okay, how many are there? Component dot prototype. How many are there? Total, how many are there? There has, okay, one is this one, eight component dot prototypes are there. Okay, can we check it? Syntactical, it's valid or not? First one, is React component inherited into my component class or not? One member. The next, can you read it? Can you read it? In my React component class, okay, we are inheriting set state. Which type this is? Which type this is? Come on, not only variables, we can inherit the functions also or not. So my set state also one more inherited member or not. So can I write like set state? This is the function. Okay, now can I come down? Now see this. This is also component dot prototype dot force update. It is a function type or not. So one more also there. This is what? Comma force update. Now can you come down? Can you come down? Okay, now tell me, is it like a inherited? Inherited syntax? Component dot prototype dot something, right? Then only I can say like a inheritance or not. No. Now can you come down? Okay, this is not. Can you come down? This is also not, right? Component dot prototype dot something you have to put it. That is also not. Okay, it is a pure component. It's completely not. The next one is like component dot prototype dot not there. This is also not. And this one also not. Okay, again you come to this one. So total how many members? 4 own members, 3 inherited members. 4 plus 3, 7. 7 members are inherited into my hollow or not? Got my point? Come on. Agreed with me? So my hollow contains how many members now? 7 members. Can we spell out one by one? Can we spell out the members? Okay. Props is like one member. Riffs is like one member. Updater is like one member. Context is like one member. Is React component is one member. Set state is like one member. Okay, force update is one member or not? These all members are inherited into my hollow class or not? Okay, now because of these members, these features inherited into my hollow, now onwards my hollow is acting like what? Now onwards my hollow is acting like what? Okay, hollow can act like a component, can act like a component or not, because of this extra features added to my hollow. Got my point? Okay. Okay, then how we can create the hollow? Okay, hollow class component, all these things we'll see in tomorrow's class. Okay, can you do this assignment, everyone? Only JavaScript assignment today, that is like oops concepts only. Only oops concepts. Can you read and come? Inheritance, these also read it, you can understand. These also read it, you can understand. Write some notes about oops. Oops not only for JavaScript, it is for all. It is for all. Got my point? Okay, Java, .NET, okay, PHP or Python, the oops concepts are like same. Syntax may be different. The concept is like same. That the reason. Okay, just complete this oops. Complete this oops. Okay, complete this soups concepts and write your own notes. Okay, that is only today's your assignment. Okay. Okay, then if you have any questions, just you can drop a mail. Otherwise, tomorrow morning, okay, at the before start our session, I'll give you the chance. You can go through. You can ask the questions. Okay. Okay, then thank you guys. Thanks for joining. Okay, tomorrow morning we'll see.